Hey guys!
It's Mundane Miracle Monday.
Yay!
I think you can just barely see the streamers above us. It's my birthday.
Yeah. When you're seeing this, it's the day after her birthday.
Yeah.
So wish her a happy birthday, even if it's the day later.
Yeah, that's when we're celebrating for it anyway. Well, we're celebrating all weekend, but
yeah.
Monday
Get
too.
it right.
Sorry. Today's episode is brought to you by us.
Mundane Miracles Podcast.
No, today's episode we're going to be talking about what it was like for us to grow up without money. Our disclaimer is that we recognize that there were other people who were poorer than us.
Yes.
And we're coming at this from a positive perspective. We're looking back positively on the things that we learned as poor kids.
And we've actually realized when talking about this already that we're actually thankful for it because it's literally what made us who we are. So we're talking about it not to play a victim or anything, just because we want to share our story. So
And we didn't grow up near each other at all. And it's just funny when we're talking about our experiences of growing up, like when we're talking to each other, to see like the universal experiences of poor kids.
We talked about it a little bit like before we filmed, but it was crazy to me. There's some stuff that I thought was just us. And she was like, we did that too.
Yeah. Yeah. Wild.
Okay, so first let's talk about food.
Okay.
What type of food we normally ate,
Yeah.
I feel like my whole life consisted of bologna, hot dogs, and pasta. What about you? What's your top 3 poor foods?
Well, my top 3 poor foods are like packages of butt egg turkey. Those were like 70 cents or something, and I would just eat the whole entire thing. Growing up, and I still do, a lot of food allergies. I was allergic to dairy, corn, beef, eggs, and peanuts. And so when you think about that, that really narrows down what you can eat. I couldn't eat bologna.
Nothing.
I think bologna had corn in it. I think that's why I couldn't eat it.
Ew. I don't even want to know what bologna's made out of.
But yeah, butt egg turkey, toast, and cereal.
Yeah, cereal was definitely a big one.
Oh, and you know what? We were talking about this the other night. Tuna sandwiches and chicken sandwiches made out of the can.
The chicken in a can, tuna in a can. And you just mix it up with some mayonnaise, maybe some mustard. Have a sandwich, toast the bread if you're feeling fancy. And same for bologna. Like, if we wanted to have, like, a better meal, we would fry the bologna. So instead of just having, like, a bologna sandwich, it would be
a fried bologna sandwich.
And then if you really want to get fancy, add some cheese.
I just spilled coffee all over myself. I told Angelica the other night that one of the things that my mom used to make me, Ariel, my sister, used to eat a lot of macaroni and cheese. And sometimes she would just, like, since I couldn't have the cheese, I could only have the plain macaroni. And I wouldn't eat it with sauce or anything. She would, like, take like a small portion of the macaroni noodles, and she would just like put them in a small bowl for me, and I would just put salt on it and eat it like that because I couldn't have butter, so it was just plain pasta with some salt. And then she would make her mac and cheese, but she only did that. This is so funny. She only did it if it wasn't the shaped macaroni and cheese, because according to her, there was not as much of in the shaped boxes.
Oh.
I don't know if that's true. I think she just liked the shapes better. And
yeah,
so she didn't want to share that. But my mom would make like a box of macaroni, and then she would add in frozen peas, salsa, and tuna. And she and I would eat that because obviously nobody else wanted to eat it.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. My dad used to water down the milk jug. I was talking to Mariah about it. She said that they would water down milk too in like cereal and stuff. So is this a universal thing of people who grew up poor? Because
that's wild.
Yeah. Like, oh, the milk is halfway full. Suddenly the next hour, the whole thing is full. And then I'd go to have cereal and it tastes watered down. That was the worst. Like, I hated having cereal that was the one complaint I do remember actually acknowledging was like when the milk was watered down, because I never knew anything was different back then, but I did know that like when the milk was watered down, because it made my cereal not as good.
Yeah, this is kind of gross. Obviously, I couldn't drink milk because I was allergic to dairy, so I always had soy milk. And sometimes if I was like out of soy milk, or if I was like, I don't know, sometimes we just wouldn't buy it, probably because we didn't have any money. And if I wanted a bowl of cereal, I would just have a bowl of cereal with water instead of milk.
And you guys weren't on EBT either, were you?
No.
Yeah. We weren't either for some reason.
For some reason.
Well, it was living by faith.
Right.
Like, we were worse off because of that. Like, at least when you have EBT, you can buy groceries.
Crazy.
And we would literally just have, like, bologna, mac and cheese.
Yeah. I think it got such a bad rap when we were kids, too, like, having food stamps.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you don't want to rely on the government for anything, and you don't take handouts and whatever.
Now it's like hand it over.
Yeah, for real.
I'll take all the free groceries.
What were your like go-to stores that you shopped at for food and for like groceries?
Definitely.
I guess food and groceries are the same. I mean, food and clothes and everything.
Well, I don't think we ever shopped for clothes.
Except at Goodwill.
Not even.
Really?
Like, not really. Everything I ever had was a hand-me-down.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean from like my older sister. It was like anyone in our life that gave us a bag of clothes.
Right. That's, yeah.
Like, I don't think, like, we did go to thrift stores every once in a while, but I don't remember, like, really buying stuff from thrift stores either. We did go to yard sales a lot and get stuff here and there for, like, $1 a piece. But, like, yeah. And
probably
then as far as,
back then.
Yeah, true. I remember I got a whole blanket set. And my mom had to wash it really good and get, like, stains out and everything. But, like, to me, it was like, okay, well.
You got a new blanket set.
Yeah. Because it was like it was just, but I had that blanket for years after that, and she probably paid literally $1. Yeah. It was like the blanket, the sheets, the pillowcases. It was used, but she soaked it in vinegar and cleaned it twice with hot water, so that means it was clean. But as far as groceries, yeah, Walmart definitely, and Aldi, but I don't remember Aldi as a young kid. I just remember Aldi, like, growing up most of my life, but yeah, so I guess it was always Walmart and Aldi.
We went to Aldi a lot when I was a little kid. I didn't like it. I felt like it was very overstimulating, and I hated having to bag my own groceries, like, because my mom would get this cart full of food for like $20, and then we would bring it over to the counter, and we'd have to bag everything, and it was so annoying. But like now, obviously, I'm like, that is the way to go. Like, let's shop at Aldi. But yeah, that was such a pain. And there was this store in Chicago called Woodman's. It was this giant grocery store that had like a lot of good deals, I guess. I don't really remember the prices or anything, but I do remember that we shopped there for food a lot. And the reason that I remember it so vividly is because like the end of the cart, like not the part where you push, but the other end, it would like come off like and dangle down so that you didn't have to like unload your groceries onto a conveyor belt. You just like took the end off and pushed it up to the cash register, and then they just like took it out of the cart. It was so cool. And the coolest part is that I could sit in the cart and let my legs dangle out of it because it was so
Love
fun.
that.
Yeah. And for like clothes and stuff, we got a lot of hand-me-downs too, like from my cousins and stuff. And we shopped at Goodwill, and I remember specifically it was my cousin's birthday, and I was like shopping for a birthday present for her. She's 10 days older than me. Oh, I missed her birthday. Oops. Sorry, Kayla. But anyway, we were like this. We wore the same size clothes and shoes. I'm sure we still do. I found this amazing. She was turning 10. We were both turning 10 that year, which was a big deal. And I found these amazing boots at Goodwill that were like high heels, and they were like, I guess like some kind of spandex material, because they had a hard sole, but then like the top was like, it like sucked your foot and your like leg. I don't think it went up very far. I think it was like just ankle boots.
Sounds scary.
They were so stylish, and oh my gosh, I loved those boots. And I was like, Kayla's gonna love these, and she did. But the disappointing part about shopping at thrift stores is that there's usually only one of something.
Yeah.
And man, I wanted those boots for myself so bad. Obviously, we were just going to wear them for dress up because we weren't allowed to wear high heels. We were 10 years old. And she put them right on at her birthday party. And it was just like, so I just remember that so vividly. And I remember like being like, man, I wish we could match. I wish we could both have these boots.
That just shows the character of Mariah, that she wanted them for herself, but she still got them for her, you said cousin, right?
Yeah.
Her cousin. And she's still like that to this day. But I had a memory pop up. Now I remember why we didn't really shop for clothes, and like I can't remember fully about groceries, because we used to go to like food banks.
Oh, see, that's something I don't think we ever did.
Yeah. It was like you go and you get like a wagon, and you get a specific box of different stuff.
Yeah.
And then like they would have all these like expired desserts that you can choose from, and like it's basically like a free for all, but people are supposed to be like,
taking like one of everything or whatever.
But that didn't happen with our family. And then they had this room that was like a thrift store, but without a store. Like it's you just pick what you want.
Mm-hmm.
That was amazing. It was like, wow, I got a lot of stuff from there, and it's just like funny to think about how differently some people grew up, like getting new clothes and new shoes. Like I really don't recall getting anything new really ever, unless it was like a gift from somebody.
Yeah, my grandma would sometimes take us shopping for like our birthday or Christmas or whatever. My grandma loved to shop, and so whenever she had an excuse to take us shopping, she was always going for it. But oh my gosh, one time I remember, I can't remember what store it was. It was like maybe Target or Kmart or something.
Probably Kmart.
That's
where we all went.
And I was probably 4 or 5. I was little. And I was with my grandma. I just was like tired. I was overstimulated and tired, and I didn't want to shop anymore, which is like the story of my life when I'm shopping with my grandma.
And just in general.
I hate shopping. And so those round racks of clothes?
Yes.
Of course, I just went in it and just sat down on the floor in this, because think about this.
I used to go in those too.
Here I am, a little undiagnosed autistic girl. And there you were. Sitting in basically like a cave of clothes. It blocks out the sound. It blocks out the light. And so when you're overstimulated, it's just like, this is amazing. This is the best place to be. So I'm sitting there actively hiding from my grandma, like on purpose, because I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I needed to be somewhere else. So I'm sitting there. My grandma panics when she realized that I'm gone. Because, hello, I'm 4 years old. And she can't find me. And so my grandma was like calling my name. I heard her calling my name, and I was just like, ugh, I don't want to get out of here. And eventually, like, she had the whole store looking for me. She like called the employees to help look for me and like everything. And finally I just like popped out of the clothes, and I was like looking around, and this little like employee was like, "Are you Mariah?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they were like, "Your grandma's looking for you." I was like, I know.
That is so funny.
Yeah, that really explains me.
See, I just did it because I thought it was fun. I just thought it was fun to do things that I probably wasn't supposed to do.
That's like the story of your life.
Yeah. But I loved when, like, after church, everyone would, like, people would go over their friend's house, or they would go out to eat.
Yes.
And I loved getting to go out to eat. But if I went with, like, first, my parents would never go, obviously. We never really went out to eat. It was, like, a rare occasion if we got McDonald's.
Right.
And so we never really went out to eat with people, especially not every Sunday. And so sometimes me and my sister, we would still go with people. We would just ride with them just because we wanted to be a part of the experience. And we just had no money to buy food, so we would just sit there. But we didn't really care.
Yeah.
But we were hungry.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because those people would never buy stuff for us.
Yeah.
And that's insane. I just think back on all the church people we were with. Like, the stuff I've witnessed, it's crazy that I am still a Christian and willing to go to church and, like, everything. Like, obviously that's because I know God for myself.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like, it was pretty crazy to look back. Like, it was probably once in a blue moon that someone bought something for us.
Yeah.
But Or I wanted to go to my friends' houses after church because I was like, they're going to have food. It's just more fun, obviously, to go to someone else's house, which is crazy because people loved coming to our house. Like, our house was the place to be growing up. Like, everyone wanted to be at our house. They slept over. They had stayed all the time. Like, everyone felt very at home at our house. And that's funny because we didn't have a big house.
Yeah.
We didn't have, like, a lot of...
like, snacks
or electronics. Like, we had those, like, cheap donuts from Walmart. We had off-brand snacks, which people didn't really ever want. But that's another thing I liked is when I would go to friends' houses, they would have, name brand Doritos and Fruit Loops. And they had Disney Channel, and we didn't have cable growing up. We had this Christian channel called Angel TV, or I don't know, some type of Christian channel. So we could only watch Christian shows and anything like that. Or we had the thing, I don't know what it was called, but where you can watch like PBS Kids and all that. Uh-huh. So grew up on that. Electric Company and Cyber Chase.
Did you ever watch Zoom?
I did watch Zoom. I don't remember like too much of it, but I did.
Yeah. Arthur.
Oh yeah, I loved Arthur.
Me too.
I think I would still watch Arthur to this day.
Honestly.
Dragon Tales, but
Dragon Tales.
Come along, take my
I can't believe we were allowed to watch that.
I know.
That was magical.
I know. I would like sing along with the TV. I wish with all my heart to fly with dragons in a land apart. And my parents literally told me like, don't say that.
That's witchcraft.
Yes. That's crazy.
Man, that was a good show. I loved that show.
My cousin even remembers to this day when he came from New York to stay with us. He was not allowed to watch like Yu-Gi-Oh or that was a show, right?
I think.
Or like
Dragon Ball Z,
like that type of stuff. He wasn't allowed to watch any of that there, and he remembers that they were like, "Here, you can watch this," and it was like VeggieTales or like I don't know, there's a specific thing he remembers watching, but like he always just like, what the heck, like I can't watch anything. I don't know what these weird shows and movies are. But yeah, so when I got to go somewhere that had Disney Channel, that was like amazing. I loved Disney Channel. I really did. And I would sleep over friends' houses all the time and just stay up all night. I never slept growing up. Like I just, at the sleepover, I was always the last one to fall asleep because I couldn't help it. And
not me. I was the first one out.
You would have had makeup on your face when you woke up. That's what me and my friends would do, whoever fell asleep first. We would like be putting glitter eyeshadow and like all that. But yeah. And so I would just stay up watching Disney Channel or Nickelodeon. I always preferred Disney.
Me too.
Really?
Yeah.
But I still loved Nick too. But
there are some good Nickelodeon shows. I mean, now that we know the behind the scenes, they weren't good, but they were funny.
And you watch the shows now and they're so bad.
So bad.
Why are they so bad?
Literally cringy.
Yeah, I mean, there's just nothing good.
We sound so old saying that. Because I'm sure.
I don't think kids these days even watch it. I don't hear anyone talk about that stuff. They just are on TikTok. Like, that's sad.
Yeah.
And TikTok is not a good place to be if you're under the age of like 15.
Yeah. That's crazy to think about,
But they are. There's like 9-year-olds on TikTok cussing and twerking. Like,
cussing and twerking.
Where's your parents? But yeah, so
have them turn on the Disney Channel for you instead.
Yeah, I feel like Disney Channel's probably getting worse too. It's probably like there's probably subtle jokes and stuff in there now. It's probably not even like good anymore. It used to be like good family wholesome content.
My parents were in full-time ministry my whole life, and so we often lived either right next door or right across the street from the church where they worked. And so there was one of the churches that they worked at, and my dad's office was over there in the basement. And so since we were homeschooled, sometimes we would go over there and like do our school over there or just hang out. And David and Ariel did it a lot more often because there was a TV in the basement over there that got all the channels. So they would go over there and watch like Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon. I was never like a big TV person, and I remember they would watch SpongeBob, and we weren't allowed to watch SpongeBob because it was crude. And so I remember like I would be in my dad's office and I would hear them watching SpongeBob, and I would be like, oh my gosh, they are being so disobedient. Which, looking back now, I think it's hilarious.
People hate that I never know SpongeBob references.
Me too.
I'm like, I can't help it. I didn't really watch it growing up.
I didn't either. I know like a few references, but yeah. It was the same thing. Like David loved Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z and like Pokemon. I mean, I also loved Pokemon. I can still sing the Pokemon theme song. Yeah.
We were not allowed to watch or touch Pokemon cards.
I don't know why we were allowed to. Like David was definitely like a trading card guy. Like he did that with my cousins and everything, and I remember them like having their binders with all their cards and flipping through and like playing, like battling and everything.
That is such a specific memory. I forgot I had about my cousins and my friends.
Yeah. It was just they would watch TV at the churches, and I liked I guess probably because I was younger, so much younger than them, because I liked the little kids shows and the Disney Channel shows.
Yeah.
And Ariel liked the Disney Channel shows too, but David was always like wanting to watch anime and whatever.
The way you just stopped.
Just because I'm like remembering the trauma of him always getting the remote because he was the oldest.
The truth comes out.
I would love to hear we should have him on here because we could just tell stories from two different perspectives and have two different sides of the trauma.
Imagine what he has to say about you being the youngest.
I know. I'm sure he does. I'm sure that he has something to say about the shows that I watched too. And I just think it would be funny to hear.
He's probably like, you wanted to watch Elmo. Of course I didn't want to watch that.
That's so funny. Yeah, I did love Sesame Street, actually.
Yeah, I did too.
We
grew up on a lot of Barney.
Oh my gosh, me too. We had this VHS tape of Sesame Street, but it was like a Sesame Street exercise video, because that was a thing in the 90s, I guess, is that you would like have exercise videos, even for kids, which, hello, body dysmorphia. And my mom would have us do that for PE classes. She'd pop in the video while she made lunch or something. And I remember loving that and doing it all the time. And it was like the count was on there. That's the one that I remember the most, because you had to get a blanket to use for your cape, because the count has a cape. And so you had to like and I loved using my blankie for that and doing those exercises. And then we also had one with Mary Lou Retton. She was an Olympic gymnast, and it was like this exercise video with a bunch of kids, but it was like Mary Lou Retton leading like stretches and like stuff like that. And I loved that. I just thought that was the best thing ever. I liked it because my mom liked it, because I wanted to be just like my mom. But those were just like VHSs that we would get at the thrift store that my grandma would buy us or something.
We used to have so many VHS tapes.
Same.
If you could think of one, like, what was your favorite movie growing up?
Swan Princess.
I don't know if I've seen that.
Are you kidding me? You've never seen The Swan Princess? Hold on, let me pull it up.
Maybe. Oh, I did watch this movie. I loved that movie.
Mm-hmm.
We should watch that.
We should watch that.
Okay, mine, I don't know about when I was, that was definitely one I loved too. I loved tons of movies growing up, but the one that comes to mind, because we were just talking about it yesterday, is Little Giants.
Oh yeah, I've never seen that one.
And I have to show her because, like, I was a tomboy growing up. Like, I was just always a tomboy, no matter what. Even when I did dance and when I did cheer and everything, like, it was just always in there. So my biggest competition was boys. Like, I always wanted to be better at boys. Be better at things than boys were.
Yeah.
Like,
you're still like that.
Yeah. And like when I was playing basketball, I even felt like I wish we could play against the boys, because I feel like I'm too good for the girls. Like, literally, it was like I wanted to be better than them. I don't know why. So, yeah. And then so Little Giants is literally that. If you haven't seen it, you need to just watch it. But it's just this girl that's on a football team. To me, she's just that girl. Like, oh my gosh, I wanted to be her. She's called Icebox in the movie because they just had like their names.
Yeah.
But
like The Sandlot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love The Sandlot.
Yeah.
And The Sandlot too.
I don't think I've seen that one.
We need to watch it. It's a girl coming in to play softball, and she goes against the guy. That is like my thing.
Did you ever watch The Mighty The Mighty Ducks?
Okay, here's the thing. I feel like I've heard so much about that, but I don't know if I've seen it.
Oh my gosh, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like a storyline in The Mighty Ducks. It's
later.
hockey, and they have a girl like goalie and stuff.
Okay,
and
I need to watch
everybody underestimates her, and like,
yeah, I don't think I've seen that.
Oh my gosh, those are my favorite movies too. There's 3 of them, and I loved all of them.
We have a lot of movies to watch for
Yeah,
people
for
who
people
aren't
don't
even
like
movie
movies.
watchers.
I have 2 more that I watch like all the time. One I'm gonna have to look up because I don't know how this movie could be real. It was called No More Baths. You know what I'm talking about?
Whoa.
Yeah.
That just brought back the deepest memory. I remember that movie.
It was some kind of, I think like it was some kind of free movie that was like given out somewhere.
I have to look it up.
And
I forgot about that.
it was about like these little kids in a community who went on strike, and they stopped taking baths and showers.
Yes.
Because I think they were like getting ready to like make this old man move out of his house or something. I can't remember. He was about to be evicted, and the kids like loved him, and so they went on strike to keep this man in his house or something. I can't remember, but that's probably why I'm a socialist. I loved that movie. Ariel and I also loved to watch Prince of Egypt.
I liked that movie.
And Joseph.
Oh, Joseph is a good one.
Yeah. Anyway, that wasn't really about being poor, but
Yeah.
it was just part of our childhood.
Yep.
And not having cable, so we always watched movies.
Yeah, exactly. So it is kind of a part of
Yeah.
it. We didn't have money to go do things. Like, we went roller skating every once in a while or like whatever, but like other people would always have plans. They'd go out
Yeah.
and do things or go shopping at the mall. We just went to malls to walk around.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
But that was like fun though for us, like growing up. It was just like, oh
Yeah.
wow, we get to see all this stuff. We'd never be able to buy it.
Right.
But yeah, so what were some things that you thought were like what made people rich? Like you saw in someone, you were like, wow, they must be rich.
I think like if a family had 2 cars,
Oh yeah.
that was like, but the thing is like a lot of times we did have 2 cars, but like one was broken down.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Like, but when my dad was a youth pastor in Chicago, the second church that he was a youth pastor at, I remember we had like a minivan and that was like our only vehicle. My dad came home one day with a PT Cruiser. And we were like, what? I'm sure he and my mom talked about it. Like, she wasn't surprised, but like, what the heck?
Wait, so he was given it or he bought it?
No, he bought it.
Oh.
I don't know how.
All our cars growing up were given to us.
Yeah.
Like,
I know.
we had this Chevy Caprice that honestly was such a hit. Like, people...
Is that the red one?
Yes.
I loved that car.
I
when
know.
you had it.
Honestly, that was like the smoothest running car. You could fit 6 people in there, like one in the middle up front. And, another thing is, since that was our main car, and we had 7 people in our family, and only 6 seats... Our brother, the chosen one, had to lay on the floor in the back seat with our feet on him anywhere we went.
Oh my god. But like, how often were you going places
I mean, honestly,
all together?
it was pretty often.
Really?
If we went anywhere, it was all together.
Really?
Yes. That's probably why people always thought we had so many siblings, because they always saw us all together.
Yeah.
And I was always like, it's not a lot. It's only 5. But now I see. And Rachel had her little boosters.
I know. I loved that.
I know.
I remember.
She always wanted the window seat.
Yeah. I remember you sending a video of her in her booster seat, and she was talking about like marrying a godly man or something. It was so cute.
Oh, the one she's like, you don't need a man. You need Jesus.
Yeah, that must be it. That must
Yeah.
be it. Oh my gosh, it was so
You
little.
don't need them. You don't need them. All you need is Jesus. Man, if I can
she
find
was
that, I need to
cute.
insert that clip.
Yes.
But yeah, we were given that car by my old best friend's stepdad, actually. And then there was another time our neighbor, he had an extra car, and he would always let us use it, like whenever we wanted. We had different vans and stuff growing up. And then when I got a job, once I saved up a little bit of money, me and my dad bought a family car. So my first job and first probably year of working there, I put money into a family vehicle.
Yeah.
Half of it.
That's
And
a really good example of what it's like to be in a family with no money, because you're just always
Giving up your money.
Yeah.
Your birthday money.
To help out.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you had your own room, to me that was like you were rich.
Yeah.
And then if it had a bathroom connected,
oh my gosh, forget about it.
my friend growing up, I used to go, this was when I was in public school. I would ride the bus back to her house a lot. She had her own room. She had like Powerpuff Girl stuff and like her own bathroom, and that was literally amazing to me.
Yeah.
Like, I always shared a room with 1, 2, 3 siblings. Like we had a 2-bedroom house growing up.
Yeah.
If you had stairs in your house, if you had 2 floors,
For sure. That was rich. Ariel and I shared a room for most of my life. There were only a couple times when we had a separate room. And there was a house that we lived in that was really creepy and scary. And there was enough bedrooms for both of us. But we would rather share a room because we were so scared to be in that house. And so we shared a room and then made the other room like a giant closet because we were so scared. But anyway, so my grandparents had a house once. They moved around a lot too, but one of their houses had guest bedrooms with a Jack and Jill bathroom. Oh. So like I also thought that was like peak of luxury.
Bougie.
Because that was 2 rooms that had a bathroom, even though it's shared. Like, oh my gosh, I thought that was the coolest thing ever. And so whenever we would stay over at my grandparents' house, like we would have that Jack and Jill bathroom, and I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. Ariel and I would stay in one room, David would stay in the other room. And then we had this attached bathroom. Also had a walkout basement. Oh my gosh, if you had a walkout basement.
If you had a basement at all. Rich.
Well, in Chicago, everybody has basements.
Yeah, there's some places that have to have basements. In North Carolina, we didn't need basements.
If you had a finished basement, that was something in Chicago. Most basements were just like for storage, laundry, and like they were damp and dank. After saying that, I will let you know that my brother spent the majority of his life with his bedroom in the basement. Sorry, David. But it wasn't like a bedroom. It was like the whole basement was his kind of, but like it would be sectioned off. And there was another house that didn't have anything. It was an unfinished, like musty basement. And we just sectioned off a corner for him. Even when we lived with our grandparents in one of their houses, he stayed in the basement. And the kicker was that after we moved out of my grandparents' house, then they decided to finish the basement.
Of course.
And they made like a couple different bedrooms down there. Yeah. If you had a walkout basement, that was really, really something.
If you had an in-ground pool.
Oh, yeah. Even if you had an above-ground pool.
True. We had one of the like blue ones.
Yeah, the blow-up ones.
Yeah, like once.
Yeah.
And then obviously it didn't get taken care of, so it got all destroyed.
My neighbors, who are my best friends, Rachel and Jessica, who I've talked about before, we went sledding. They had a blow-up pool. It was like the 3-tiered kind, like the big rectangles. And we lived in that thing in the summer. We thought that we were so cool. And it would get so gross. We did our best to like keep it clean, but it would get so gross with like grass clippings and everything inside of it. But oh my gosh, we loved that pool.
Yeah. One of my neighbors, when we were growing up, there was this house. They didn't live in it yet, the people that still live there now. And there was an in-ground pool. It was just like an abandoned in-ground pool basically in that yard forever growing up. And when these people moved in, they got it covered up or like got it like whatever, just turned it into a yard instead of an in-ground pool. Yeah. It never had water in it that I remember seeing. Like, I don't know if the people before ever used it. Maybe it was like so far beyond repair. Yeah. I don't know, but it was like the specific memory as a kid is like always seeing that in-ground pool in our neighborhood. Like no one in our neighborhood has an in-ground pool.
No.
We didn't live in that type of neighborhood.
Or that type of town. I feel like that's not even like a thing.
If you go to like the nice neighborhoods, even like most people didn't even have an above ground pool in the neighborhood.
Right.
We did have a trampoline, but it didn't have the net. If you had the one with the net, I think it was like you were rich.
I thought that you were rich if you had a trampoline.
Yeah.
And
we got ours used, I think, from like a person.
My neighbors had a trampoline, the same neighbors with a pool. They had a trampoline like before we moved there, and so the girls were telling me about it once, and they were like, yeah, we have a trampoline, but the tarp has holes in it. And I was like, who needs a tarp? Like, what does that have to do with anything? Let's set it up. But what I didn't realize is that the bouncy part is called the tarp.
Oh.
And so they went to their mom and they were like, can we set up the trampoline? And she was like, no, the tarp has holes in it. They said, like, well, why do we need a tarp? And their mom was like, are you stupid? Like, that is what you need. And so then they came to me and they thought it was so funny. They were like, we didn't know that it was a tarp, or you didn't know it was a tarp, or whatever. Because to me, a tarp is like something that you would cover the trampoline with. So I was like, okay, we can still jump on it and not cover it up. Who cares? But yeah, I thought trampolines were the coolest.
Ours didn't last long because all the neighborhood kids would come to our house. We had a trampoline, and then 2 houses down, that neighbor had a trampoline, but their mom was really strict and annoying and weird. They thought their kids were perfect, so at the moment anything happened, because with neighborhood kids, you're always getting into fights or whatever, but you make up the next day. Their parents would literally always, like, if something happened, they would kick you out of their yard, like anything, and they would never like see that their kids were the problem. And everyone came to ours. Yeah. So it was always being used, and there was one neighbor, this one kid, I think it already started ripping. Like, there was already a hole, and he was like bigger. When he jumped on it, the hole got bigger and bigger. And so our trampoline at some point was just like a big hole in the middle, and then just the surrounding like area. So it didn't last too long, but it was fun while it lasted. We did it so much. And we would put like soap on the trampoline when it rained, or pour water in soap and just like slip around and like fall. I'm surprised I never broke a bone. Ever. I did so much crazy stuff as a kid. I would jump from trees. I would like ride my bike into like a tree and like everything. When I was at like playgrounds, I would climb on, I was one of those people that had to be extra.
Climb on top of the monkey bars?
Yeah, like on top of all of it, the slides. Instead of going down the slide, I would come from the bottom and climb on the top. I don't know, somehow I never broke a bone.
Yeah, I didn't either.
I've never met anybody that hasn't broken a bone, except for you now.
Yeah.
I mean, and my siblings. None of my siblings did either, surprisingly.
That is surprising.
Especially Emmanuel. He got in a lot of stuff growing up, but he never broke a bone. He busted his head open one time and had to get stitches. We had those, like, that horse thing that you have in your house that you just, like, bounces, like, the springs. And we had, like, the glass block in the living room. And one time he was bouncing and he fell and hit his head and, like, cut his head open, and he had to get stitches. He was, like, crazy, but he was the boy of the family, so.
Well, and Vanessa is, like, always breaking her toes.
Her toes?
That's what she always says. She's like, my toe is broken.
Oh. Yeah, but surprisingly, none of us broke bones.
I wanted to break a bone.
Me too, because I wanted a cast.
Yes, and one time, I was playing at my neighbor's playhouse, and...
What if I just jumped off?
No. It had been raining. It was a wooden playhouse, and it was 2 stories. Bougie.
Rich.
And I was going down the stairs, and it was slippery. I think I slipped on like a wet leaf or something, and I fell down the stairs, like just and I reached out to stop myself, and there were like windows, but they didn't have obviously any panes. It was just like a square with like 4 little squares, and like a crosshatch in between them. And so my arm like hit the middle cross like hatch, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. I broke a bone. I was so excited. But like obviously I was crying because I was in so much pain, and it really did hurt so bad, genuinely. And so we were icing it, and it was like really swollen and bruised, and like it looked bad. And so my mom was so mad because we didn't have health insurance, and she was like, oh my gosh, I always tell you to be careful. We waited, and she really didn't want to take me to the doctor, but I was in so much pain, so she took me to the doctor. They did an x-ray. It wasn't broken. Oh, she was mad. And they gave me a splint because it was really sprained. So
I know you ate that up.
Oh, I ate it up. They gave me a splint and like a sling. And so I had it in a sling. So like at least I got that. But yeah, I think everybody wanted to break a bone when they were kids.
That's so crazy. We all wanted attention that badly. So we could have people sign our cast.
Yeah. And
it's
I
not
wanted
even
braces really bad too.
I wanted braces too. I had my color planned out and everything.
too.
And I've always had straight teeth. And
Me
even
too.
like people would tell me, "Wow, you have such straight teeth." Even the dentist. But I
Okay,
wanted
make 'em
braces.
crooked, sir.
Yeah, like oh my gosh, I wanted blue braces so bad.
Me too.
That's
In
crazy.
orange. I really wanted orange.
But the one thing I needed was glasses, and I did not want those. And I never wore them growing up. That's why my eyesight is so bad now.
I wanted glasses really bad, and I knew that I needed them, but my mom didn't believe me. Or she probably did believe me, but we couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
And so she was like, "You're fine." And so one time I was staying with my grandma for a few weeks in the summer, and I was like, "Grandma, I really think that I need glasses." And she was like, "You do?"
Such a
And I was
player.
like, "Yeah, I just really think that I just can't see very well, and I think that I really need glasses." "Well, did you tell your mom?" "Yeah, but she doesn't believe me." And then my grandma was like, "Oh my gosh." And so she took me to Walmart to the vision center in Walmart and had my vision checked, and sure enough, I did need glasses. And my grandma bought them for me. And it was so funny because I like didn't know anything about glasses, but my grandma had been wearing glasses all her life basically. And so when we were picking out the lenses, my grandma, of course, was like, get the most expensive lenses,
Yeah.
which were the transition lenses. You know, the ones that turn into sunglasses.
Oh my gosh, they had those back then? I didn't even
Yeah,
know
I
that.
was, let me think about how old I was. I think I was 15. I think I was
Oh.
15. Yeah.
I thought it was going to be younger.
No, I was 15. I knew what I was doing to emotionally manipulate my grandma. Not really. I just knew that she would help me out, and I knew that I needed help. So anyway, she was like, "We're getting you the transition lenses. Those are nice. Papa and I both have them." And I was like, "Okay." I didn't know anything. Oh my gosh, they were hideous. They were the worst glasses ever. But I was so proud of
It's
them.
embarrassing.
It is embarrassing to look back at pictures. They're so ugly. But I thought they were the best things ever because I could see. It was amazing. And oh my gosh, even still, when I got home from staying with my grandparents and I had glasses on, my mom was like, "Oh my gosh." And she was like, "Let me see your prescription." Because she worked for an optometrist when she was in her 20s. And so she was looking at my prescription and she was reading it and she was like, "It's not that bad." Like, she was still convinced that I didn't need glasses.
That's crazy. I needed them in literal elementary school.
Yeah.
I was in like first grade or second grade.
Oh man.
And I couldn't see the board. And I remember like the teacher literally put me in the front row. And I still couldn't even read the board.
That's terrible.
Yeah. As a young kid, like my eyesight was bad, but it's not as bad as it is now.
Yeah,
So
I know.
I don't
it's
know
just
why it was
yeah.
so bad back then. Or if like I was maybe like I couldn't fully see it. I could see it a little and I just couldn't put the pieces together. I don't know. I really don't remember. I just know that I remember telling the teacher I can't see the board, and she got mad at me. She's like, "You're literally in the front row." And I think I had glasses, but I just didn't wear them.
Uh-huh.
And I never wore them until I was probably like 16.
Yeah.
So that means that many years
Yeah.
of
Being
my eyesight
blind.
getting worse. And
Yeah,
like when
and
I would
straining.
see people, I would always, like everywhere I go, I would be like squinting.
Squinting.
People would always think I didn't like them or like whatever, because until they were right in front of me,
Yeah.
I wouldn't know who it is.
Yeah.
We'd be at like fairs or concerts or shows, whatever, and like people would always call my name or they would wave from a distance, and I would just have to be like waiting till I get close to them to see who it is or try to guess their voice. Like
Yeah.
it was bad, and I just hated glasses. And then I finally started wearing them when I was a teenager, and I had ugly, those like small little black ones, because the ones that were cool back then were
expensive.
yeah, but they were the like bigger black ones.
Yeah.
But
Like the Ray-Bans.
yeah, we couldn't
the
get
little-
those.
yeah.
So I had to get the skinny black ones, and they're hideous. Anything else come to mind of what you thought people were rich?
If you lived in a neighborhood with sidewalks.
Yeah.
I've never lived in a neighborhood with sidewalks.
Fulton Heights.
Except for Fulton Heights. Aw, I miss that place.
Yeah. We should go see if we can move there now.
Yeah. Hey, Tommy. Remember when I rented that little place for $600? Well, it was fun talking about what we did when we were 4. So, what was your mundane miracle that you want to share for this week?
So our mundane miracle is that we've been talking about going to the gym before I even moved here,
Yeah.
and we finally got in the gym this week.
We did it.
And we woke up at 7 a.m.
I woke up at 6.
Or she woke up at 6. And
3 days. 3 days this week. We did it.
Yeah.
The first day that we went, though, it was so cold, and we had just gotten our first frost, and so
our cars took forever to defrost.
Forever. We were sitting there.
So our first day there, we go to the lockers, and what happened?
Our stuff was gone. I hadn't even been there for, like, I think we were there for, like, 30 or 40 minutes, and we were, like, ready to go. We had done our full workout, and we were ready to go, and so we went into the locker room. As I was putting the stuff in the locker, I was thinking, oh, we should get a lock. But
I thought it wasn't a big deal because people just do it all the time. And there was, like, mostly old people in there. And also it's just, like, I don't know. It
it's
just
like
seems
a nice
like
area.
a nice area.
Yeah. So we put our stuff in locker 55. I'm never going to forget that. I'm never going to put my stuff in that locker again. Locker 55. And did our workout. And then we came back and we looked in locker 55 and it was empty. Totally empty. And we were both looking at each other like, I know this is the right spot. There was one other person in the locker room. It was like an older lady, and she was getting her stuff together to leave. And so we started like looking in the lockers like around our locker, and we like we weren't finding our stuff. And we were like, what do we do? What do we do?
I was like, there's no way this happened.
It was Halloween when this was happening. It was October 31st. And while we were panicking about our stuff being gone, it wasn't real panic. We were like kind of like,
we actually just didn't believe it.
Yeah.
We were like, there's no way, like there's something wrong
because
here.
It was like our keys to our cars, like, and
my AirPod case,
her AirPod case, all of my credit cards and debit cards and everything. Like it was, and my ID, like everything. And so we were like, okay, we were not panicking. But we were just like unamused and just we couldn't believe it. And we were like,
we actually were laughing a little bit.
Yeah.
We were kind of
yeah,
amused.
That's true. You're right. And we were just like, I think in shock, like, what do we do? So then I like tuned into the situation, and the song that was playing over the gym radio, I don't know what it was. I've never heard the song before in my life.
Never,
ever. It was basically just a chant of Satan, 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 over and over and over again. And we both like realized it at the same time, and I like looked at Jill and I was like, what is this song? Are they saying Satan? And she was like, yes.
I looked up at the like TV, and it literally was called Satan something.
And the older lady that was in the locker room, she was like, have you guys ever heard this song before? And we were like, no. And she was like, I haven't either. We were like, why are they playing this?
Just imagine you're like at the gym on Halloween. Your stuff is gone, and all you hear is Satan, Satan, Satan.
Oh my gosh. So Jill was like, she like made a cross with her finger. She was like, oh no. So we went to the front desk and we were like, has anybody turned in? Because we were like, okay, maybe they accidentally like took it out to their car and then they realized it wasn't their stuff, and so they brought it back in and gave it to the front desk. So we were like, has anybody turned in any stuff? And they were like, what are you talking about? And we were like,
our stuff is gone.
And they were like, what do you mean? And I said, everything is gone. Like all of our stuff is gone from our locker. And they were like, what? Just shocked. And I was giving a description of all of our stuff. They were going to like go through the footage, the like security camera footage, and see if anybody walked out of the lockers with that stuff. And so we were just like waiting. And the manager was like, you can file a police report and then we'll be able to like
release the camera footage.
Yeah. And so she was like, but I'm just going to go do a sweep of the locker room first. So we were just waiting like in the little lobby area. And then the guy at the front desk was like, the manager wants to see you in the locker room. And we were like, okay. So we went in there, and she was like on a completely different side of the room than locker 55 where we put our stuff. And she was like, I think I found it. And she did find it. It was all of our stuff, and it was exactly the way that we placed it. We're going to sound crazy.
Yeah.
It was exactly the way that we placed it in our original locker 55.
It was just a completely different locker.
Yeah.
And the thing is, before we said anything, we went and looked around
all the lockers. Yeah, we were looking
lockers.
through the lockers. Like, not opening. I opened several of them, and
I did open some too, but like I wasn't going to touch anyone's stuff.
Exactly.
I just wanted to see.
Yeah.
And like it wasn't there.
Yeah, I looked where she found the stuff, and it wasn't there.
So we kept telling her, we're like, we had it in 55. Like, we know we did. If it was just me by myself, I would have thought I was insane. But it was both of us. We know where we put our stuff. I remember when I walked in, I walked that way, not that way. It was just
so
moved.
weird.
Someone just completely moved it out and put it exactly the same way. I don't know why. They didn't steal anything. Like,
No,
they didn't
like
take
all of our stuff
anything.
was still there.
So it must have just been like they thought it. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Or
The
maybe
manager
they
was
went
like,
through it to see if there was anything worth taking, but
but why wouldn't they take my cards?
because
I
that's
guess
easier
maybe
to
they-
track. Maybe they were looking for cash.
Maybe.
But no, I really don't. I honestly don't think it was that type of
And
situation.
it was just weird because it was put back the same exact way. Like,
it was so weird, but
so
so that's
weird.
our mundane miracle that we got to the gym and our stuff didn't get stolen.
Yeah. Craziness.
Yeah.
But you know what? We still went back to the gym after that.
Yes. So thanks for listening, guys.
See you next week.
Bye.